Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I'm going to make this kind of short and put the links down below. So there has been this big hullabaloo happening on YouTube and Twitter today, and that has to do with the hashtag Vox-Adpocalypse. If you go look at that on Twitter, you're going to find a whole big bunch of tweets. Oh, look at this, 473 new ones that I haven't gotten to. But yeah, it's a big thing going on, and it's a fight between these two guys right here. Carlos Maza, who you can see is somebody who writes for Vox, Vox as in V-O-X, Victor O-X, Marxist pig. Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. I mean, this guy feels so much hatred in him that he has to say that about Tucker Carlson in his bio. Okay, you don't get very many characters. Why in the world would you put that in your bio? I mean, that's the first thing you want people to know about you, that you have such a hatred for somebody. So anyway, and Steven Crowder, who is a comedian, a conservative comedian, and I'm not always that big of a fan of Crowder's, but in this area, this is something that we all need to pay attention to because there's some big stuff going on right now. And here is a live stream that Crowder did earlier today, and 182,000 people have already seen it. It has to do with what's going on to him. This one guy, this Carlos Maza, is out to get him. Not just get him to the point where he's, demonetized on YouTube, but to deplatform him. And if you read through, he's upset because YouTube said, well, we're going to demonetize his channel, which they did. They totally demonetized Crowder's channel. And, this is something really big. For some of you who might think, oh, well, what are we talking about? A few dollars? No, when you're talking a channel this big, he's got 3.8 million subscribers. Okay. He got 182,000 views on this one video. So when you're talking about those kinds of numbers, you're talking about some big chunk of bucks, okay? And he has like himself, and there's this lawyer guy that he has on retainer, and he has 2 or 3 others that help him out. And, you've got to make a living. And of course, theirs does a lot more than I do. I'm just somebody sitting here, in my house with my little laptop. But with this, they put on a regular show and they get all kinds of guests and everything that he talks to. So this is kind of like, the late night talk shows that are done by liberals on TV. So if we have that kind of thing going on and they're okay with those late night talk show guys with what they're saying and their kind of stuff, but they're not okay with this kind of humor, then we've got a real problem. If you have Twitter, go through and look at hashtag Vox-Adpocalypse. You're going to see all kinds of tweets. Like this one, I think this is pretty good. James O'Keefe says, next week a brave insider is coming forward from deep inside Silicon Valley, and Project Veritas plus our insider will show you damning documents that big tech won't want you to see. So I think that sounds really good. That'll be next week. And, it just goes through, and here's Dana Lush, and she says, does Colbert's video skit of me getting shot violate your standards? Also, are you only specifically demonetizing conservatives? Because to have your entire channel demonetized is big news. And when this guy, with the numbers that he has on every video, every video he does has really big numbers. And so, seems like it was only yesterday when I was warning that this was coming and I was told, oh, it's only Alex Jones. Yeah, people were saying that, oh, well, it's Alex Jones, he should be banned. No, because when you start banning him, they did that so they could see if it was going to work. And when it worked, now they're coming after the rest of us.
All of you who stream video gaming, all of you younger people who are out there doing makeup tutorials, you picked YouTube because they made it clear that you could make a living there. Yeah. And now they want to pull that rug out from under you. Yeah. They want to make tens of millions of dollars, for some of you, hundreds of millions of dollars off of you, off of the backs of your content, and then remove you without telling you why, without a justification.
And Steven Crowder says here, don't forget the Vox journalist who started this, called for assault of conservatives on Twitter, a direct violation of Twitter's terms of service against incitement. And he was talking about throw milkshakes on them, humiliate them at every turn. That's really how these kinds of people work. Humiliate and punish are two of their big words. And actually, he said that in a quote. He said, YouTube has decided not to punish Crowder. Yeah. So, and he says he spent 2 years harassing me for being gay and Latino. Believe me, that's not why Crowder was making fun of him. He was making fun of him because of his ideas. He has crazy ideas. So, there have been several channels that have been demonetized. It's getting really bad. And a lot of it was over a shirt, okay? And this was the shirt that Crowder was promoting. And that's a picture of a fig right there, if you can't tell. So that's why if you look at hashtag figs, which was also trending today, you'll come up with some of these that have to do with the topic and figs, okay? But it's kind of backfiring on them because, more people are starting to support Crowder. So, and I mean financially are supporting him. But I also want to point out that this is bigger than just Crowder. Okay, this also includes Mark Dice, and I know many of you know Mark Dice, 1.4 million subscribers, but if you've been keeping an eye on his channel, he's had 1.4 million subscribers for a very, very long time. And the way that YouTube works, if you have 1.4 million subscribers, you're going to have probably about 800 to 1,000 new subscribers every day. Yep, that's how it would work, or at least how it should work. And we know that Mark has good content. It's very consistent. His content is always good. You can guarantee that when you watch one of his videos, you're going to be seeing something solid and entertaining. So it has nothing to do with his content, but his channel has not been gaining that kind of subscriber count. Instead of like 800 to 1,000 subscribers a day, he's getting more like 150 to 200. That's crazy. And there were a couple days where he got like less than 50 subscribers in a day. So this has been going on for a while with him. I think there was a couple days where he lost people. He had a negative count on his subscribers. So this is hitting these big channels. I think Crowder is the largest conservative channel at 3.8, but Dice is pretty big too, and he always talks about being a guy in his kitchen on his laptop. Well, that's pretty much what he is. He's not got a whole staff of people. He does it all himself, and YouTube is trying to pretty much stop him from making a living off of this. Now, I do know that sometimes it's a very common belief that, well, why should anybody make a living off of YouTube? Well, why should anybody make a living off of doing the TV news at night? Really, because they're doing kind of the same thing we are. They get paid, and they make a living off of it. And for us, I mean, my situation's a little bit different because I don't earn as much money as these people by far. Okay, not very much. But when you're somebody like Mark Dice or when you're somebody like Steven Crowder, you're putting a lot of hours into these videos. I mean, there's like research that goes on. I spend 2 or 3 hours a day doing research. And then you have to record it, you have to edit it, you have to make up all the thumbnails and the description, and you have to upload it. And there's just a lot of time-consuming things that go on with it. So it honestly does take me all day to do a video, usually. Several hours. So for me, I don't begrudge these people from getting ad revenue at all because I think they deserve it. They've put out good quality content. And, they've probably spent hours and hours putting these shows together. And again, with Mark Dice, the same thing. But this isn't what's happening with YouTube. YouTube is saying, well, they don't like the content, so they demonetize them. And of course, as I've said many, many times, when a video is demonetized, it doesn't get included over here. You see all these over here? Those are the recommended videos or suggested videos. I don't know which they call them. Those appear because of an algorithm. Now, the algorithm is stacked so that if some video is demonetized, it's not going to appear over here very often. So you get less traffic and, hardly anybody sees your video. Then for me, they come back a couple days later after all the views are in, and then they monetize it again. It's old news by then. Nobody wants to see it, and Yeah, that's the situation you're in. So I wanted to share that with you. I've got a clip here I want to show at the end. And I want you to notice specifically that Steven Crowder is talking about it could happen to any of us. And it used to be where you could make money doing that. I mean, you could make a good living doing that. But now, who knows? I mean, every day I wake up and I just thank God that my channel hasn't been demonetized yet. When I publish that new video, I look and I hold my breath to see if it was demonetized or not. It's not a fun way of living, actually, but it's so important. We've got to get this information out there because I think this one person, now let me see if I can find it, has the right idea about what's really going on. And that is, let me find it here. YouTube planned to boost, quote, authoritative sources and limit recommendation of, quote, harmful misinformation in late 2019. Perfectly timed for 2020 election. Does anyone doubt they'll use this to boost left-wing content and flip votes? Yeah, this is the statement that they have here. And in January, we piloted an update of our systems in the U.S. to limit recommendations of borderline content and harmful misinformation. If you watch this Mark Dice video, you'll understand what that is. And that's like if you take one of his videos and you put the exact title of that video in the search, chances are very good you won't even see his video on the first page or two of the search results. Yeah, they don't even put his video. They've affected how you search for things. It puts like CNN and all the liberal sources up there first, all the liberal media, and then Fox maybe, and then it goes on with other stuff. So they're really skewing how people are looking for things. And that's going to affect things when it comes to the election because people get a lot of their news from YouTube. So this is very important. It needs to be addressed well in advance of the next election. And I hope that, things are starting to work out. Now, the White House had a website that you could go to, and it was a survey, and you could report any type of tech bias that you were finding because you were conservative. Well, they've closed that survey, and it's only been up for a couple weeks, I think, because they have thousands already. So they were inundated, I believe, and that's why they closed it. So the information is out there. Now, people like Dice and Crowder have a bit more money to fight these things than people like me. So, I hope that maybe because they do have access to lawyers and those lawyers can fight for their rights, they're going to have to stand up and do it because unless we do a class action lawsuit, I can't afford an attorney, that's for sure. So if they come after me, I'm just going to have to say, okay, whatever, because I won't be able to fight against it. So that's what I've got for you on this one. I'm going to play that clip for you at the end, and I want you to pay close attention to what they're saying because it's a scary situation where we don't know the rules, and YouTube keeps changing the rules. It all depends on whether you're conservative or liberal. So I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.
So, so the point is figuring out what exactly are the rules going to be, right? Yeah. I mean, and that's one of the things that was directly asked today in the conversation was, you understand that you're now using videos that were approved and that you've made money off of for years and years and years as the basis for a suspension. Okay, tell us what the violation is. Right. And we still don't actually have a list. Even the email we got today only says a couple of examples of what the videos are, but it doesn't actually say what in the videos.
It makes me think they didn't do a review.
Yeah.
Honestly, it makes me... Here's the thing. If you were to say, listen, all right, here's you clearly doing blackface. Here's you screaming the N-word at the top of your lungs. Here are the really egregious violations that we can clearly say are violation of our guidelines, right? Yeah. They said upon a further investigation, this is what they said, I think, on Twitter. They said they reviewed it further. Well, hold on a second. Wouldn't you want this to be as clear as possible?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want them to know whether, like, listen, you cannot be allowed... For example, we have people who are no longer allowed as guests on the show. It's like, why? Because you committed an act of violence against somebody else. Because you tried to dox them. Yeah. You are not welcome. We make it as clear as possible because we want that delineation.
Yeah.
Wouldn't YouTube want that delineation if we were the monsters they accuse us of being? They've given us no information. Out of over 1,000 videos, 2. 2. Just let us know the info. You don't think they can do that to you?